Right now, we have a board of individuals who do not fully understand, I think, the actions that they are putting in front of not only the police board, but the actions that they're going to do to the city of St. Louis by increasing the police board budget beyond what statutorily it's supposed to be. As we've seen over the last several days, we have commissioners that have said they want to increase the police budget, if not 50 million, 100-something million. That would be devastating to other city services. I want to be clear, this resolution is not aimed in saying this is an anti-police thing. This is aimed to say we need individuals making fiscal responsibilities when it comes to our budget. And right now we have a board that is really putting the city in a situation where if we move and we continue to head down this road, we might as well have our police department be forestry. We might as well have our police department be water. We might as well have our police department be other departments, because what's going to happen if we give more than what the board is already allocated, we're going to be in a bad spot when it comes to services. When we talk about public safety, I mean, I think folks have been saying it for a while. We need to reimagine what public safety is, right? Public safety is making sure we have a strong building division to make sure these abandoned buildings in North St. Louis are actually taken down, right? Public safety is also ensuring that we have money going to our water department when we continue to see water main breaks over and over again, and have adequate funds so that we can get the lead out of the water that has been going on for a very long time. Public safety is making sure grass get cut, and in the summertime, you don't have grass as tall as you from Paul McKee and other people that have not taken care of that is not taking care of their due, what they were supposed to be taking care of. So
before we begin public testimony, I just want to go through a little bit of, I think, Budget 101 and who has authority for what when it comes to this. So first off, I want to say that it is typical for departments to ask for more money than the city can fund. This year, from all city departments, we have, at the Board of Estimate Apportionment, received a little over $80 million in requests over what we are capable of funding. But that is for every department across the city, not including police. What is very atypical is to have one department asking for $50 million or more over the baseline that the city kind of gives them to keep their budget within, so that we can have a balanced budget that impacts, that allows for all of the priorities that we have across the city to be funded. I also want to make it clear that the authority over this still lies, unless there is, legislation at the state level. Today, the authority over this budget still lies with the Board of Estimate and Apportionment and the Budget Committee and Board of Aldermen. What that means is that it is up to the Board of Estimate and Apportionment, so that is myself, the mayor, and the comptroller, to put forth a balanced budget that weighs all of the different priorities that come to us. And historically, just because a department asks for something does not mean they get it. I mean, we've all seen the videos of, former director Sarah Russell standing up here and begging for more emergency management funding during a budget session not too long before the tornado. And unfortunately, that was not funded at that point in time. So this budget it is still under the Board of Estimate and Apportionment to do that balanced budget that reflects the needs and priorities of residents in our city, and then recommend that budget to the Board of Aldermen to have hearings on and ultimately pass by July 1st. So I just want to set that baseline, that just because it's asked for doesn't mean we automatically give it to them. And I understand that there is concern over a line or two that is in the state bill that can remove elected officials from office for interfering with the Police Board of Commissioners. But I think if there's ever a time to test that, it is on this.
I do come to you with a specific request, which is that you amend this resolution to encourage, or more preferably demand, that the mayor's administration pursue active litigation by suing the Board of Police Commissioners and the state of Missouri over this budget. This lawsuit should seek primarily to clarify exactly how much is 23% of the city general revenue fund. I realize that there is hesitancy on behalf of the mayor's office to file a lawsuit because you could lose. That's how courts work. But we do need clarification because right now the mayor's office and the budget director cannot find common ground with the Board of Commissioners lawyer on what the actual number that we're negotiating on is, and they are tens of millions of dollars apart. Those tens of millions of dollars are extremely important right now.
Sessions ago, we actually ended up passing an ordinance that required SLDC to create an evaluation process and a scorecard that was presented to the Board of Aldermen. I was having lunch with my colleague from the 7th Ward yesterday, indulging in a little history lesson, and I think for many of you that weren't here 16 years ago or 14 years ago or 12 years ago, when we had development items that came before this board, the only thing that we had was literally a board bill. We didn't have a fiscal note. We didn't have a development scorecard. These are all new things that we've implemented as a board to try and provide a level of transparency in our process, some expectations in general. And that scorecard process also provides for some community engagement that otherwise wasn't happening as well. But Board Bill 66, essentially what it does is codifies the scorecard that SLDC created. This board bill does not, it does still provide SLDC the flexibility to change metrics and other items associated with that scorecard. However, if there are any drastic changes to the scorecard, it would have to come back for review at HUDs.
And when developers are going through any sort of development process, there can be changes. And there can often be a lot of changes or questions depending on how long a development project takes. If we're required to bring the committee and the Board of Aldermen, that can create an even further extended timeline for projects that we know we need to get done in the city. I think right now we're trying to make sure that we can bring good, transparent, and positive developments to the city, and we should be doing things to make that process easier, not more difficult. My concern with this piece of legislation is that I do think that particular line could create some difficulties and challenges for folks as their projects change when they do need to make changes and review and approve their scorecard.
This board bill does not put ownership on a developer or SLDC in the event that a project changes. The board bill specifies if the scorecard changes, so the variables or the attributes of the scorecard, not any specific project.
Areas. And then one of the things I think that is extremely important is the convention center is going to have the ability for workers to be able to opt out. So if workers do not want to work this convention because of either health reasons or that they don't like, smoking, that this won't be a forced opportunity that they would have to work. We haven't got it yet, but this is the first step to bringing that convention here.
I appreciate that there's an exemption in here providing for the care of employees. But those employees are often low-wage workers and aren't generally able to take time off. And if they do take time off, it's not paid time off. And, I still have concerns for them.
Understanding. So they want to come and be able to, could they sell cigars if they didn't smoke them at this convention?
I think they probably could sell them.
So what they really want is exemption to be able to smoke.
Yes, ma'am.
Arena. Okay.
To be able to, also try.
Mm-hmm. Go ahead.
I was going to say to be able to try the cigar. So, like I say, I'm not a cigar smoker, but I've been at Stanley's. And I guess, people, they kind of taste it and then they want to try it. So it's to be able to try it to know if they want to not just buy one cigar or like to be able to buy the box.
I actually had a godmother who died from lung cancer. I'm very dramatic whenever people smoke cigarettes around me. I cough really loud. I fall out on the floor. I think people should do anything with their bodies except smoke cigarettes. I say that all the time. And I'm very cautious of just kind of nicotine and things of those matter. With that being said, I also think that as a government and as political bodies, we have to consider the entirety of industries and entirety of stakeholders, and we have to try to find a delicate balance between, of course, public health and the well interest of our city and our residents, and also the realistic of being a city and the realisticness of wanting to attract conventions. These conventions are going to happen, whether they happen in the city of St. Louis at a convention center we have here is the question, but they're going to happen. And so if they don't happen here. Also the point about the worker opt-out, I think it is, unfortunate that workers who get paid hourly wages will have to miss out on those events. But I do also think it's important that that option is there, that they're not being forced to work those events and that there are other working opportunities. So I just wanted to make sure, really, for the sake of Seventh Warders and folks watching this, just to provide some context, because I think there has been some misinformation. I certainly understand folks who will vote no of this period as opposed to no exceptions. But I think for me, this bill does find that delicate balance.
This resolution on its own is not going to stop this egregious state overreach, but I do appreciate it being filed because when the state passed this legislation to take over our police, they didn't talk to us. When they put forward this unelected police board, put in place this budget, they didn't talk to us. So this is us talking to them, and this is us telling them that they don't get to decide what's best for us. And if they really do, if they really claim that this is what's best for us, then they can pay for it. If the state of Missouri thinks that it can dictate what's best for the city of St. Louis, then it can pay for it, because if this city fails, the state of Missouri is not far behind it.